Hello, welcome to another little mini showette. It's Thursday the 19th of May 2011 at, I don't know what the time is, 10:30 in the morning, okay? Some emails have come in. First of all, Vicky and Titty. Is it Vicky and Titty? Let me have a look. Where's my pen gone? Have we stolen? There it is, there's my pen. Vicky and Titty seem to think that 17 minutes talking about my squirrel problem is a little bit too much. Well, I'm sorry I bore you to tears, Vicky and Titty. Titty, incidentally, she does her own show, which is 45 minutes long. You know. And I'm just wondering, Richard, Richard is Titty's real name. Titty LeCamp is a drag queen that I work with on many occasions, and she's usually quite a pleasant person until she mentioned that she thought 17 minutes was a little bit too long to talk about my dear squirrels. Well, let me tell you, dear, I haven't finished yet. There's going to be more minutes dedicated to those little grey furry things that run around in my garden creating all sorts of mischief. More coming up later in the show. But I honestly don't know, Richard, how on earth you think my measly little 17 minutes is a little bit boring talking about squirrels when you do an entire show that's 45 minutes long. And quite frankly, when I'm watching it, I do feel a little bit, you know, it's almost like I'm about to drop off. It really is. And even my dear friend Vicky, who manages Belushes in London Bridge, she actually switched off because she couldn't take the squirrel story any longer. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with you. All I'm doing is sitting here telling stories. Now, talking of stories, I have quite a few emails that have come in. First of all, from Robert in Iceland, who's back with us. Hello, and welcome back to Robert. We've missed you. I've missed myself more, but I've missed you a little bit, Robert. And he writes, "Hi, Chris. This is what we missed." He's talking about the new format of the video shows. Please consider, say, doing 1 hour show a week or even a month and return to the old format. You made me smile and thanks for that. And that's from Robert. Well, Robert, one of the things I don't want to do is get back into a kind of schedule. The reason I stopped doing the shows for a while was because they were becoming a bit too much. I felt tied down, so now I'm doing these shows kind of as and when, if you see what I mean. And there are varying lengths depending on rather than trying to fill exactly an hour, they're being done as and when. I hope you like them, Robert. But there's no phone calls coming in. It's just me sitting in various rooms of the house. I'm sitting next to the piano today. And I might give you a little tune later on. Oh yes, I've got something lined up. I don't know whether I should do a piano tune or a church hymn, because I often get people saying, "Oh, can we hear you play the organ? Would you like me to play?" I'll play a church hymn later, actually, I will. I'll play something from the royal wedding that was just passed with old Kate and, not Harry, who's the other one? William. Kate and Harry. I'll play, Kate and William, rather. I'll play something that was at the royal wedding, right? Thank you, Robert. Hello to Vicky. Now, Vicky is a very close friend of mine. She's over in America. We've never actually met, but I have seen inside her flat, or no, sorry, not a flat. What do you call it? Not apartment, your condo. She's in a condo. No, not the Congo, dear. In a condo. She's in not a condiment. No, that's vinegar or tomato sauce. She's in a condo in America, and she was very interested in my recent squirrel story. And Vicky writes on 4 pages. This is a long one. This is a long one, Richard. I mean, will you stay with me for the whole time this show is on? Vicky writes, "Hi, Chris. I hope that by the time you receive this message that the squirrels will have found alternative accommodation. Did I ever tell you my squirrel story?" No, you didn't, Vicky, but I'm sure you're going to. "No," she says. "Well, pull up a chair, my friend." I'm already sitting down. Thank you very much, Vicky. "And I will tell you a tale of not 1, not 2, but 3 squirrels that came down the chimney." Oh, yes. So we need incidental music. Yes, 3 squirrels coming down the chimney, boys and girls. Incidentally, someone at the pub, one of the pubs I work at last week, which one was it? Oh, West 5 in Ealing, where I do some DJing every Friday night. Some man came up to me while I was in the bar area and said I had mad eyes. I wonder what he means by that. Mad eyes? He said, you've got mad eyes. I said, and? Anyway, going back to the email. Vicky says, back in the fall of 1999. Do you remember that TV series, 1999? Oh, that was what. Did you ever see that, Vicky? Oh, they're all walking around in these tight mauve lycra leggings. Very, oh, you haven't got a pair, have you? It's the same colour as the T-shirt. I've got a nice Ralph Lauren mauve T-shirt, purple. Is mauve the same as purple? Is it? Oh, I don't know. And they had these mauve and purple tight leggings on. Do you remember that? Space 90. I'm just trying to think of the music. Oh, wait. No, I can't remember. She says, back in the fall of 1999, I realised that my condo was just too cold and drafty. No matter how much I bundled up in sweaters or drank hot cups of tea. So I finally decided to have glass doors installed on the fireplace. Up until then, it was just a mantle with a brick surrounding it. Sounds very posh in your place, Vicky, I must say, dear. I didn't know you was a lady of money. She says, and an opening for the logs with a chain link curtain to pull across in the event that I might decide to actually use the fireplace. Ha ha, what a joke. I've seen those chain curtains in a sauna that I went to once. They were being used for some very, very strange things, I'm telling you now. Anyway, she carries on. So I had the... Stop it now. So you're making up your own jokes as you go along. Well, just pay attention. Don't shout, get on with it at the video. Don't shout like that or I won't. You know, can I get a word in edgeways? You keep chatting. So I had the fireplace doors installed, but that winter was very cold. Even with the doors shut, I would still notice a sharp draft at that end of the room. It's not you passing wind, is it, Vicky? We don't want to know these stories, dear, if it's talking about human things like that. In an effort to further reduce the draftiness, I then bought paper toweling in bulk packages, bundles of 12 rolls of paper towels, and then stacked the 12 packs against the fireplace doors. I figured that I was saving money by buying the paper toweling in bulk, and that by stacking them against the fireplace doors, I was keeping out the draft. It looked a little odd, but I was saving money, so I didn't care over much about the look of it. I know what you mean, dear. Oh, we like saving money. We don't like to spend money unless absolutely necessary. Well, the winter of 1999 became the spring of 2000, but it was a nasty spring with lots more cold weather. So incidental music I'm doing today. Early March 2000, we had a bad ice storm. We don't have those here in the UK, I'm pleased to say, ice storms. Like the saying goes, it was a dark and stormy night. I was sitting in my comfy chair trying to read a book. Oh, I can't read books. You know that Tony Blair book I bought last August? I'm about halfway through it now. Seriously, it takes me a year to read a book, 2 pages at a time, and then I become bored again. She says it's so hard to concentrate on reading when it is cold and you think hypothermia could come over you at any moment. Is there someone living with you called hypothermia, darling? That's very, very strange. Anyway, it was a dark and stormy night, and I was trying to read when I heard a noise. Not just, oh, you didn't, it's not that wind again that you've got, is it, Vicky? A dreadful noise that makes, you know, you try and do one quietly and then, oh, it's dreadful. Dreadful. There are certain other radio presenters on air that think it's very amusing to pass wind and make that sort of noise. Dreadful people. Dreadful, dreadful people, dear. She says, not just any noise, but the unmistakable noise of a critter in the fireplace. At first I did not know for sure that it was a squirrel, but after a few hours of the noises, I surmised that it must be a squirrel. I've lost the place now, just a minute now. The whole thing was theatre of the mind, a squirrel in my fireplace, but I cannot see it, because I have stacked the paper toweling in front of the glass doors. I could hear him try to pull back the chainmail curtains, and in my mind's eye I would see little claws in the curtains, poised to pull them back. Ah! Did I mention that it was a dark and stormy night? I've lost the place again now. Oh yes. Well, it was a snow ice storm that kept me at home from work and kept everyone off the road for 2 days. I was afraid to tell any of my friends about the squirrel problem, in case they would try and come and rescue in the middle of the storm and wreck their cars on the way to my house. Mercifully, the internet connection, old school, a phone line and a modem, kept working during the storm, so I looked up some info on the internet and found that squirrels can't live long without water. On the 3rd day, he rose again, in accordance with... Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going into Bible mode then. On the 3rd day, there's always a bit in a Catholic Mass that goes, on the 3rd day, he was crucified and he suffered from... on the 3rd day, he rose again, in accordance with the Scriptures. He ascended into heaven where he is seated at the right side. See, I know the whole Catholic Mass, dear. I know the whole thing. But I'm digressing. She says on the 3rd day, he got very quiet, and then I could not hear him anymore. I thought that the poor fellow had died. I've lost it again now. Oh, there it is. We're back at the top there. I thought that the poor fellow had died, and I actually felt quite sad about it. Then I took a bagel out of the freezer and put it in the toaster oven. Oh, you want to watch those bagels? Very heavy bread, dear. My best friend Ron tells me they are full of calories, bagels. Very, very heavy bread. She took a bagel out of the freezer and put it in the toaster oven. The smell of yummy bagel fumes seemed to have brought the squirrel back to life again. And he started to make a racket again. That was the last straw for me. By then the sun had come out and snowplows were starting to come by the roads. Or come on by the roads. I was sure to have to go to work the next day and had to deal with the squirrel issue as soon as possible. I found a company in the phone book, B&L Nuisance Control, and called. I haven't got any sound effects here, I'm sorry, I've got to do it all myself. The fellow who answered said that he was on his way out to do some ice fishing. And what is that, ice fishing? Do you go out and catch blocks of ice or something, dear? What is ice fishing? But that he could stop by to see what he could do to help out. He brought in a trap and put it on the floor. I stood at the other end of the living room, wanting to run out of the house, but unable to take my eyes off the fireplace doors when he got ready to go after the squirrel. He put on a pair of large, heavy gloves. You know the sort of large, heavy gloves, don't you, boys and girls? The sort of large, heavy gloves that murderers put on before they commit the act of death. Oh. He put on a pair of heavy gloves and quickly opened up the fireplace and snatched up the squirrel and put it into a cage. He must have had very, very fast hands. I've known people with fast hands as well. And some of it, let me tell you, is quite pleasurable. It really is. Now, it is a little-known law of ocular physics. That's a good word there, Vicky. Ocular. We like that word, ocular physics, which says that a squirrel, which seems quite small and perhaps even cute on the front lawn, will appear to be menacing with inch-long fangs, while he is sitting in the middle of your living room. The problem Do you know, I think I just saw one run across the garden outside again. The problem, the nuisance man told me, was that my fireplace damper was open and that the squirrel had come down the chimney and could not climb back out. Poor little squirrel. In fact, are you sitting down? Yes, I'm sitting down. Are you sitting down? Yes, I'm sitting down. I told you already. This was not the first squirrel to fall down my chimney. Oh, no. According to the nuisance man, the squirrel that he caught alive had been eating a squirrel that had fallen down my chimney a few months earlier and which was decaying in the fireplace. Oh, my God, the smell must be awful in your place, dear. It really must. A cannibal squirrel. Oh, that is so gross, she says. So the nuisance man promised to dispose of squirrel number 1 that had died a few months ago and to humanely release squirrel number 2. Remember, this is in the USA, this is, okay? We are not allowed to release grey squirrels here in the UK. But in the USA, he promised to humanely release squirrel number 2 on his way to the ice fishing spot. He also fixed the fireplace damper, but said that it seems to be in need of repair and that I should arrange to have a cap placed on top of the chimney so that no further squirrels would get into the house. So I started dialing and made an appointment to have a company install a chimney cap. I remember that it was on a Wednesday and the soonest they could come was a Saturday. So I only had to avoid getting any more squirrels down the chimney for 3 more days. And everything would be okay. Well, that night I was in bed. Do you snore, by the way, Vicky? I bet you snore. Do you know if you snore or not? You have to get a little recording thing and put it next. See if you snore, Vicky. She was in bed, again trying to concentrate on reading book, when I heard the unmistakable scratch, scratch, slide, thump of a squirrel falling down the chimney. How can they keep falling down the chimney? When the crew arrived on Saturday morning to install the chimney cap, I told them what I'd heard on Wednesday nights, and I asked them if they could take care of the live animal, or should I call B&L again? They said they could do it for an extra $30. I said okay, and took my position at the end of the living room and watched the action unfold. How exciting this is, Vicky. Very exciting, this. This is your best email ever, I'm telling you now. Let's just say, these were not like the nuisance man. The boss went out to the truck and stayed outside. In the house were 3 guys from the chimney crew, 2 more senior guys and 1 new guy. So, of course, the 2 senior guys stand at either side of the fireplace and throw the new guy a heavy blanket from the truck. They told him they would open the doors and that he should use the blanket to catch the squirrel. I just stood there and dumbstruck by how utterly doomed this whole plan seemed to be. They counted to 3, opened the doors, and the junior guy just stood there with the blanket. It seems that this squirrel, number 3, was a baby and had died. Oh, we have to have the Lord's my shepherd, not want. You have to have that when things die, dear. You have to have that particular hymn when things die, or you're at a funeral. The baby squirrel had died in the fireplace before they opened the doors. They promised to dispose of him, and for my part, I told them that I wanted the meanest, toughest chimney cap that they had available. A chimney cap that could be installed on a maximum security prison. Do they have maximum security prisons for squirrels, I wonder? I think they should have, to be honest. Blooming things. They promised me to install the Cadillac of chimney caps. By the way, a Cadillac, that's a very, very well thought of American car, if you're just wondering. Cadillac of chimney caps, and they were true to their word. It was a non-conforming chimney cap, and unlike any other in the neighbourhood, that's my Vicky, you've got to have one better than the neighbour scout. I know what you mean. Always keep an eye. Let your neighbours buy something first, okay? This goes for anyone watching the show. Always let your neighbours get it first, and then you go and get a better one. It really gets on their nerves, dear. It had a shiny silvery roof and metal fencing all round from the sides. And for years afterwards, at night, when I would hear a rattling far up in the chimney, in my mind I would imagine I could see squirrels up on the roof with their claws in the mesh, pulling at it, trying to get into the house. Seriously, she says, I hope your attic is okay. You must have wires and all sorts of electronic stuff to support the solar panels you have on the roof. Yes, indeed I do. I hope all of that is okay and safe from the squirrels. They can do lots of damage in houses, and I was very fortunate that all 3 of mine were kept in by the doors and stacks of toweling. And most of all, I hope Katie, your cat, is okay. Yes, she is okay. She's in the kitchen at the moment. I've just fed her breakfast. Being morning time, she has just had her breakfast. You said that she is not liking being brushed. Is she still liking you to pet her? Yes, she does. She loves. As soon as the brush goes away, she's back over. Now, I do think it's very important to brush cats, especially, well, not so much now, but a couple of weeks ago, a lot of fur coming out because we're coming from winter to spring, and she's molting. So I even though she didn't like it, I forced her to be brushed by, and this is not cruel at all, by getting the back of her neck and just lifting her slightly up there, then she can't, you know, scratch or bite you, and then brushing her like that. And she moaned all the time I was brushing her. She didn't like it, but as soon as I put her down, she'd walk off. I'd clear the brush, put it away, and she'd come back over. So I think Katie knows that it is being done for her own good, my cat. And as soon as I put the brush away, she's back over. So she's not disliking me at all, no. In fact, I'm very close. I'm actually very close to my cat. I had 3 cats altogether. One, Tiny, who died a few years ago. She was with me nearly 20 years. She was actually a present from my son many years ago when I was in my flat in Wandsworth, and I had her all that time. But she wasn't particularly a friendly cat. She certainly didn't like being picked up or stroked or petted. I had another cat as well, JD. She was quite a nice cat as well. She likes being stroked and what have you, and that's it. But what was I saying? Oh yes, Katie. Katie is. I do feel very close to her. She's always around me. Comes out to see me when I go to the car, or often when I come to work, as long as it's not raining, because she don't like the rain. Cats do not like the rain, do they? Let's see. There we are. Vicky says, do you think your cat may have gotten a bug bite? I don't know. I don't think so. She said, we are getting all sorts of bugs around here. A friend of mine had ants in her kitchen yesterday. I killed a bee in the living room. Oh, you don't want to be killing bees. No, you can just try and usher them out the door without hurting them. Bees won't hurt. Bees will not hurt you if you don't bother them. They really won't. I had a bee's nest in the garden last year, do you remember? And, you know, they were quite happy. And I was literally inches from the hole where the bees were going in and out. It was under my shed in the garden. And they were quite happy for me to be that close. She says, I did not want to kill it, that's the bee, but by the time I got the paper towel over it, let's just say it wasn't too happy to meet you. Oh, fair enough. Best wishes to you, Chris. Hope you're doing well. And please give sweet Katie a scratch and a kiss from me. And that's lots of love from Vicky. So, thank you for that, Vicky. I've got another bit of an email from you here. I think it must have been another email. Let's see. I'll read this bit as well here. I was thinking, Vicky also writes, I was thinking of you yesterday. I might have lost part of this. I don't know. I was thinking of you yesterday while I was watching the royal wedding. So, I said, you know, a couple of weeks ago now. Wasn't that a wonderful, wonderful day, the royal wedding? I was lucky to be working late shift on a Friday and saw parts of the ceremony on the television. I hope you were able to relax and enjoy watching it all. I did indeed. Fantastic. In fact, to finish our little mini show today, I'm going to play you one of the hymns on the organ next to me here that they played at the royal wedding, okay? Did you go down to London or watch from home? I certainly watched from home. You get a better view on a nice big telly at home, I think. Thing is, if you go to these events, crowds and crowds of people, what would you have actually seen while you were there? You would have seen a couple of cars going to and fro, and that's it. You know, you wouldn't have seen in the church or anything like that. Although, of course, you would have been quite close to the prince and princess as they came past, wouldn't you? I'm so glad that the weather was good and everyone seemed to be having a great time. Yeah, they said it was going to rain, but it held off completely, didn't it? Even the runaway horse story seems to have a happy ending. Yes, I heard that he ran back to the stables. Yeah, one of the horses couldn't quite take the pressure, could he, eh? Can't blame him, really. I don't think you can fully prepare animals to cope with the noise and crowds. They are, after all, horses, not soldiers. Spring is finally happening around here. That's where Vicky lives, in the USA. The trees are in bloom and the leaves are just starting to appear on the trees. Funny, but it isn't until the leaves start coming back in the spring that I realise how much I missed them during winter. I'm off today and Sunday, and I'm determined to enjoy every minute of it. All I want to do is de-stress, help Mum and Dad with some spring cleaning. Or you still got your Mum and Dad? Oh, I wish I had mine. Very, very lucky. With some spring cleaning and spend time with my lovely cat and dog. Speaking of cats, I hope dear cat Katie is doing well. I think I should now think of her as the Duchess. I like that. Duchess Kate. Katie the Duchess, yes. Katie the Duchess cat. Best wishes to you, Chris. I wasn't sure whether you'll be keeping the United Kingdom Talk email address. Yes, I am. And I'll give that to you in a second, boys and girls, okay, if you want to send in an email. I read in the papers that this is you've had a bank holiday weekend, which probably means work will be busy for you in the next few nights. Hope you have good crowds, which are fun and celebrate. And that's from Vicky. Yeah, bank holidays are just a normal day to be. Or is it? Oh, it's 11 o'clock in the morning here already. Yeah, bank holidays are just a normal day to me, really. You know, we carry on doing work, being self-employed and what have you. All right, so the email address, if you want to send in a little email to the show, please feel free to do so. My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I hope you enjoyed this, enjoying the new format to the shows. Regular viewers and listeners will know that the old format was becoming a little bit too much to handle, and I didn't want to do 3 regular shows at the same time on the same days every week. So now I make these shows as and when. You know, I sit down and think, I'll make a show today. That's how it happens now. The main website for this show is unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, right? www.unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Or, and you may not know about this one, if you want to go directly to the video site, all the videos are hosted on YouTube, and you can subscribe on there by becoming one of my friends or hitting the subscribe button. My YouTube username is all one word, Chris Reardon UK. All right, you might find it's actually a better way to get the shows. They go up on there first before they get slung around everywhere else, okay? So once again, my YouTube username, subscribe to me on there, is Chris Reardon UK. Right, as promised then, a little hymn from the Royal Wedding. Some of you regular listeners will know that I am actually a church organist. I don't read music very well. There's a pen on the floor down there, just a minute. Yes, I don't read music very well. I play mainly by ear. I can read a little bit of music, but not too much. And I play the organ at St Joseph's Roman Catholic Church in Roehampton every morning at 11 o'clock. So I'm going to play you something from the Royal Wedding. Christ is made the sure foundation. I hope you like this, all right? Here we go. that's all from our little long show today. Thank you very much for watching and listening. The email address again, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Is there a little hymn that you might like me to play, or maybe a tune I could have a go at? I can't promise that I'll be able to do it very well. I've got church organ, I've got piano on here as well, you know. I bet you know that tune, don't you? Listen again, see if you recognise this tune, maybe you can guess what it is. Ready? Idea what that is? Email address chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Thanks for watching and listening. See you soon. Bye bye.